Welcome back to the Web Pro podcast. Always great to have you here. This is episode 53.
We've got a special guest today, Georgia. Hey Georgia, come and introduce yourself and your business. And we're going to be chatting all things branding today, which we're really excited about.
Yes, we are. So I'm Georgia McGilley. I'm a wedding and branding photographer, and I also run a stock photography subscription business. So I just, really love helping businesses grow and see them kind of grow to the potential that they should be. So, yeah.
And Georgia's been in our world now for probably a couple of years. I can't actually remember when it was, Georgia, but when did we have our brand photos with you?
I think it was 2021. I think you're right. I think, I can't remember what time of year it was.
It was just about to get cooler, I think. I think we were thinking about the weather. So I think it was kind of October time. There were still like flowers out, wasn't there? It was still but we approached you, didn't we? Because we wanted some branding photography done for our website, and we spent a really nice day in Milton Keynes.
Yeah, it was lovely.
It was a blast. I really had so much fun.
Leamington Spa, wasn't it?
Yeah. No, it wasn't Milton Keynes.
Leamington Spa. I remember because we were trying to find somewhere that was like really on brand. We want those white buildings, didn't we? So Leamington Spa. And we're walking around the high street posing, and it was so busy, wasn't it?
It was, yeah. Waiting for the buses to go past.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Fun. Fun day.
But obviously we approached you in terms of wanting some images for our website and for our social media that were exactly like Roxy said, on brand. And that brings us to what we're going to be chatting today, all things about you are your brand. So how did you really get into kind of more of the branding side of photography, Georgia, kind of from weddings?
So I originally started with weddings and sort of family photo shoots when I first started my photography business. But actually, I fully went into branding during lockdown. So obviously, as most wedding businesses know, lockdown hit and we struggled because weddings weren't happening, and I couldn't really see families in person either for their shoots. So I started to think about kind of how can I pivot, that key word that we had in 2020. And I've always loved working with businesses within weddings anyway. Got a really amazing network of suppliers that I know really well now, who I love being able to see regularly at other weddings. And I just thought, okay, how can I start to help these people during this time and obviously keep my business going? I started looking at small businesses that were kind of more product based, because they could post their products to me and I could photograph them from my sort of little home studio, and then obviously send their products back and send the images. So it just started really basically from there.
And the rest is history.
It's really good, and we've actually heard from lots of businesses that have ended up having to kind of pivot, as we kind of said, into other things during lockdown. But that's continued for you post lockdown as well, hasn't it? So it's not just the branding shoots that you now do, but also you mentioned about like your stock photography. We'll dive into that a little bit more a little later on, but that really pulls round into that kind of branding for businesses kind of listening. A lot of the time, businesses think, when they think of branding, they think logo, graphic design, colours maybe that are used. But actually branding, and especially with what you do in terms of kind of more of the personal branding element, is a lot more of that. When people kind of approach you in terms of like a branding shoot, or in terms of anything for their website, any images or anything like that, where is it best for people to start?
So starting point definitely for kind of a process with me is by finding my website, having a little look at the type of branding I do. Like you say, I think all of us, even me now in this industry, we think logos, colors, branding colors, all that sort of thing when we think of branding. And for me, the bigger part of branding is kind of showing who is behind the business, what your vision is for the business, what the heart behind the business is. And you can only show that so much in your graphics and all those sort of things. You need to be able to show the person behind that as well. So for me, the most important way to start is firstly look at my website and my style, whether you like it. I'm very kind of relaxed in the way that I do my shoots. I love kind of getting to know you as a business and who you are as a person, and having a look at not just what you do physically in your business, but also what are your hobbies like, what's your family like, what's your home life like, all that sort of thing, so that we can kind of allow that to bleed in to the images as well. Yeah, so have a look at my website, go ahead and use the contact form to get in touch, and at that point then we'll have a little call on Zoom or something like that, so we can have a chat through and really get to know each other, see if we're a good fit, and figure out what you want from your branding photos.
I suppose it's all about the vibe of kind of your wedding business, rather than just, like you say, it's more than just, you know, a style of image. And there are lots of different kind of styles out there, aren't there? But I think for our industry, it's more creative. Lots of businesses want that more relaxed imagery nowadays, rather than the business headshot, which is quite a corporate feel.
Yeah, exactly. I definitely think that wedding businesses are far more personal than a lot of other businesses, like you said. And so actually you want to see that come through in your branding photos and in kind of your copy on your website, all of that stuff. You want it to come through so that people who are booking you, your couples who are booking you, are really discovering who you are and what it's like to work with you as a person or as a team, rather than just kind of, oh, let's pick you because you design pretty flowers, or because you know, all those things are really good, but actually you're going to have to work like almost on a one-to-one basis with your couples, so you need to allow them to get to know you. So yeah,
I think that is what's really important. And I think a lot of businesses kind of start, you know, myself included with the business that I had, and my business, when I started my bridal shop, we were very quickly a team. So once I got the premises, so when I was just me the listeners will know that I started my business from home, selling wedding dresses from my son's bedroom, and clients would come and visit me, buy the wedding dress, and off they would go. And even then, actually, I wouldn't be like Katie. I would be words such as like we, us, kind of, rather than I, and making the business sound much bigger than it was. I think possibly because of the way I was operating the business kind of from home, and I was doing it that kind of way. I was removing that personal element. But then when we got the shop, very quickly I had a team. So it was never just Katie. It was a team of 3 when you joined, Roxy, wasn't it?
No, it was, yeah. It was a team of 3.
Roxy joined pretty much the day. I was still doing the shop when Roxy came, and she kind of came for her interview. And I think people try to remove that personal element from their business because they make it sound, they believe there is a misconception that that's what people are looking for, that professionalism, that kind of company vibe, whereas that's not true in the wedding industry, is it?
No, you're completely right, because in the wedding industry, well, a wedding day is a very personal thing, isn't it? It's like the best day of our couples' lives, but the majority of the time, you know, minus maybe children or the first time they met and stuff like that. So actually that is such a personal moment, and a personal to all the things that go on in that day are so special. So it's, yeah, that kind of personal connection is really important in our industry and that's quite different to other industries.
Yeah. And then how is it that people can kind of, if people are listening and thinking, oh, you know, as far as my brand's gone, the only thought I've really put into that is a logo, or the only thought I've put into that is kind of the colours and the fonts that I use. Where did these businesses begin to kind of unpick that branding is a lot more than that?
Yeah, so I think I tried to start with my branding clients with their personality. So kind of figuring out, I send a little questionnaire and like, what do you do in your spare time? What are you like with your closest friends or with your partner, you know, and kind of figuring out, are they a bit like fun and goofy? What kind of restaurants do they like to go to, you know, all that sort of stuff. You can kind of figure out a lot about a person, and I think we kind of naturally gel with people who like similar things to us and all that kind of thing. So actually when you're running a wedding business, whether that be you on your own or you've got a team of like 4 or 5 or something like that, for example, in like a bridal shop, you still really want to work out, okay, who are we as people? What do we enjoy doing together in our social time? So that when those brides come into the shop, for example, they're going to kind of feel that vibe of like, we're all friends and we want the best for you, and let's just enjoy this time picking your dress together. So yeah, I think kind of when you suddenly realize, okay, branding's not just a logo and some nice fonts or something, which they're all good, you want to keep that consistent, and that's a whole another conversation. But yeah, when you kind of start to think, oh, okay, now I need to think a little bit further than just those kind of visual things, I think definitely start to kind of look inside, look at who am I as a person. And so then that can kind of come out in your photos. So if you love going for cocktails, like we went and found a nice bar, didn't we, for your shoot, which was fun, and like had some colourful cocktails and stuff in some of your photos. If you really like nutrition and are into kind of healthy eating, then we can have some like pictures in the kitchen of you making a smoothie or something, you know, just kind of different ways of representing who you are, so that you can get the right couples to connect with you because they like similar things and that kind of thing. And that should come through in your copy, the way that you write things on your website and all of that as well. So if you're fun and love crazy, like for a photographer, for example, if you're like have a really colourful editing style and you love to go to weddings where there's bouncy castles and like paint, or, you know, something crazy like that, then talk about that. Like, I love running around, I love lawn games, I love doing all that sort of stuff, and then you'll attract those clients who like the same things as you, so you know then you're going to be able to serve them really well.
It's a really good way of humanizing your brand, isn't it? And I think this misconception about, you know, let's say we've got a wedding business that's a one-man band, and they maybe think that branding isn't something that they need to look at or something that they should be kind of leaning towards. What advice would you be giving them?
I would be saying, firstly, I think it's really important. I think it's the main way that your clients are gonna choose who you are, because actually the wedding business is quite oversaturated. Like, there are some very unique businesses out there that maybe like not many of them do exactly what they do, but the majority, like for a photographer, for example, there's hundreds of photographers, like wedding photographers in the Midlands, and so people are only going to choose me not necessarily down to whether they think my photos are like better. For example, obviously you want to have high quality images, and I want to make sure my business is the best it can possibly be, and that I'm growing myself and my skills and all that kind of thing. But at the end of the day, people are going to choose me for me, who I'm going to be with them. I'm going to be with them all day, so they need to get on with me and all that kind of thing. So you are the thing that makes your business different. And so that's what I'd say to you, is like, just to remember that actually you are going to be the one that attracts your clients, not the colors on your graphics or that kind of thing. Those can be all beautiful and stuff, but that's not going to be the thing that's going to make your client choose you. It's you as a person who's going to do that. So yeah.
No, I love that. And I think we find a lot of this, and I bet you do as well, Georgia. And actually, as a photographer, I bet you do this a lot for your couples as well. But how do we get business owners to feel comfortable putting themselves out there in their business? I mean, I shared that story about how, you know, it was very much we collective as a team, our business collective as a team. Yes, we had kind of like a team page, but I wasn't really putting ourselves front and centre. And actually, when we started to have massive growth inside of our bridal shop, it was back when Facebook Lives were quite a new thing, and we would hop on Facebook Lives and really connect with our customers that way, and really connect with our clients that way. So much so, actually, we were just a bridal shop in the Midlands. We would have customers come over from Ireland, customers come over from Scotland, and we had like a little map, didn't we? And we'd like put little pins where the furthest couples had come to us, and that was from Facebook Lives, and they had that connection with us prior to them. How do you get people comfortable enough to be able to step back and say, yeah, like, I need to put myself out there inside of my business. It's not just good enough being, you know, the best wedding stationer in Kent and be that all over your branding, but we can't find you. What would you say about that?
Yeah, I think definitely starting to show your face can be the most daunting thing ever, and I completely understand that. I think in general I'm quite a confident person, and so I can find it hard sometimes, but the majority of the time I feel okay, and if I stumble on my words I think, oh, never mind, it doesn't really matter. Whereas I know I've got friends who that would be the most horrible thing in the world, and they can't imagine putting their face on a Facebook Live, for example, or something like that. And I definitely think start small and just practice, just keep practicing. And And things like, for example, now on social media, our stories are a really nice relaxed way that we can start to show our faces, and or it could be even just start to show your voice. So say you are a stationer, you could film yourself creating a design on your computer, or putting some wax seals on something, and just have your voice explaining what you're doing. And that could be one way of starting to kind of bring a bit of your personality in. And then next time, try and do it while you're actually talking to the camera. And it could be just like a 5-second clip saying like, okay, I'm going to do this now, let me show you. And then the camera comes away from your face again, and you kind of explain what you're doing, and you're not filming your face. But I think the more you do it, the easier it gets. That's my biggest piece of advice. Like, as with anything, practice makes perfect. So if you just kind of take that brave step, start small, it will get easier and easier, and you'll be able to get to the point where you can do a Facebook Live for an hour, or, you know, those sort of things.
It's not even just kind of the lives or the reels. And I think people really, really focus on that, especially now we live in very much reels. And you are amazing at a reel, aren't you, Georgia? Like, Georgia is like queen of reels, especially for her branding side of her business, away from her wedding photography one. You can be quite comical, can't you? And you kind of like,
I do like a reel, yeah.
Yeah, quite fun and to be honest, that was one of the things that kind of attracted us to you. Like, we know we're going to get the best shots of us if we're relaxed, able to have a giggle. And actually, how many of those photographs, we even now go through them, and Roxy is like absolutely laughing her head off, or I'm absolutely laughing her head off. We had like a really fun day. But I think wedding pros, exactly what you said in terms of showing up on camera can be really daunting. They kind of associate that with reels, pointing, dancing, and it doesn't even need to be that. Like the example that you just gave in terms of just a voice or an Instagram story. But even more low level than that, just getting your face on your grid or getting your face onto your website. That's
exactly
like, you know, we go through a lot of websites, and I bet you do as well as part of your job as well. And quite often we can't find anything about the business owner at all. So in terms of having a well done headshot, Roxy said, not kind of like nothing too corporate, nothing too stuffy. That's not going to connect people to you. You know, we've all seen like the LinkedIn headshots, haven't we? Like, what's that saying about you?
Yeah, exactly that. And I think a big step, obviously I'm biased because I'm a branding photographer, but a big step would be to book a branding shoot. And even if that is just a small, like a mini session or something, a lot of branding photographers, myself included, in the kind of quieter months will book a day out in a studio or something and just book mini sessions, and you get maybe 5 images or something like that. So especially if you're early starting out in your business, it's a much more affordable way to get some images. And at the end of the day, we're very practiced in helping our clients feel confident in front of the camera and have a laugh. And I know when it comes to working with me, like you said, we'll just enjoy ourselves, and we've already had chance to get to know each other on a Zoom call or something like that. So it means we kind of know each other a little bit already. So when you come to your session, you already hopefully should feel more confident than you would have if we hadn't seen each other before anyway. And then when it comes to actually taking the photos, I'm an experienced photographer, so I know the angles that make you look the most flattering, you know, all those kind of things. And you'll have made effort to like do your makeup and hair if you're a girl, or, you know, those kind of things. So those really help. And like you say, then you can start using those images on your grid, on your About Me page, on your website. If you go to my website, the first thing you see is a picture of me, and it says, "Hi, I'm Georgia. I'd love to like meet up with you with a G&T, because I love gin and tonic and I talk about it all the time, you know." So, and it's just straight away, that's the first thing that you see.
Never bought a gin and tonic. I'm just putting that one out there.
One day.
You did buy us those cocktails, but we weren't drinking, were we? They were pure photo use only.
They were. I think it was like one sip or something, and that was it.
Yeah, we were just. No, Roxy's always there with like she'll have a gulp and then the water.
I do like a slurp. But I really like what you've just said, you know, as well. I think that, like quite a lot of things, we like to overthink it, don't we? So in my experience, I have not always been confident behind the camera, and I haven't always found these things easy, you know. showing my face on camera, even just showing an image, and especially going to have actual branding images done, kind of used to put the fear of kind of God into me, but now actually it's so much fun, and it's always worse in our minds than it is in real life. And we covered this a little bit on a previous podcast. It's just do it, just start, just take that little step to push yourself forward, and amazing things happen. I love a branding shoot, and you get really good, crisp, high quality images that are representing you and your business and your brand in a fun way. It's great fun. I've loved it.
Yeah, exactly that. And then you've got a whole library then, you know, that are accessible even on your phone, that you can download, and you've just got them sat there. So then when it comes to needing to post something about yourself or just introduce yourself again, you can pop that up. And actually, and I'm sure you guys are exactly the same, every single time I post something that's actually got me in it, it gets so much more attention than any of the other pretty images that I put up. And it is because people buy from people, and we've heard it 100 times, but when you show your face and you introduce yourself and you talk a little bit about yourself, it just helps your couples get to know you and feel more comfortable with you before they've even met you in person. So yeah,
a great way to build that know, like, and trust.
Yeah. And that's exactly what I was going to say. It's actually like 80% more traction on a post where you smile and you show your face than compared to something that wouldn't. So if you're somebody, you know, constantly frustrated with your social media insights, try posting a picture of yourself, or in your stories. You know, those of you that follow us on the stories, and I know you're the same as well, Georgia, there is a lot of us in our stories where we'll talk directly to the camera. That's just come with practice. We must have been doing this for kind of seven or 8 years now, and exactly like you, we don't tend to overthink it and we just kind of get on with it. We find it fine. But there are things in our business that we do find tough. Like Roxy can find it tough, you know, hit live, she's absolutely fine, but hit record, and we know that it's something to do, like maybe it's a webinar or something, or a course or anything like that.
Hate it.
Actually, it came up on my feed this morning. I'm going to share it. I'm going to share it with our stories a little bit later on. Even a recording of us introducing our business, it took us 15 times.
I honestly don't know what happens to me. It's weird, because you'd think that if anything, a live would be more stressy for my brain, but now pre-record, can't do it, brain goes into meltdown, can't speak, can't string a sentence together. It's so bizarre. But I still do it, and I still practice it, and it's getting easier, and it's funny.
Exactly that. Yeah, and it's something to laugh about, and also to see your progress as well, because at the end of the day, none of us are perfect business owners when we start, aren't we? So it's that growth, isn't it? I mean, I have a YouTube channel and I still dread filming the videos each time, but I know they really help people, and so actually that's something that I'm going to keep doing and keep pushing myself to do, because like you say, the more you do it, the easier it gets. So, and
actually makes great bits of content, those outtakes, the bits that don't go right, that can actually be shown on social media. I mean, sometimes I'm like, drop a little swear bomb, like, but no, it's great. And then when you get that comfortable, that you can have a laugh with your audience with it, and again, that's building up that rapport, that know, like, and trust.
Yeah, exactly that.
I just wanted to come back to something that you said in terms of trust, in terms as well as wedding industry. I think, you know, one of the biggest things, especially when we had our business, but we see this time and time again come up for our clients that we work with, is in terms of educating their client and breaking down their client to a point where breaking down our client might not be the right word. Should never be breaking down our client in terms of booking us, but breaking down those fears that they may have in terms of booking us. Because let's say, like photographer, for example, Georgia, you must, you know, you come very, very early in the process, don't you? So, you know, once they've handed over that initial booking, you know, there is quite a lengthy period in time where they may not be expecting that much contact from you, or at least they've budgeted for your element of the wedding and it's sat there in a pot, and there is that fear, they've never done this before, you know, they've only just come into the world of Georgia, that, you know, is this supplier who they say they are they going to turn up for my wedding, are they going to do a good job, you know, I've never got married before. And a really easy way in terms of eradicating that fear for clients, isn't it, and eradicating that fear for couples, is to be showing up. Because, you know, couples, and in every business actually, you know, the businesses that are showing up, they're showing up on socials, they're showing up in their stories, they're producing content, they're comfortable with showing their face, it really does build that trust factor, doesn't it?
Yeah, massively. And even emails, I find, is hugely beneficial for all sorts of things, for that, building that relationship with your client. So my wedding couples automatically, I mean, I ask them first, but they automatically are added to my wedding planning sort of email list. So I don't bombard them with emails. I get one email a month with some wedding planning tips and just kind of my face in a little circle appearing and stuff. And yeah, again, it just keeps reminding them, I'm still here, I'm working away, here's some help for you if you find it helpful, useful. And yeah, it's exactly what you just said. It just kind of keeps that relationship going. And even if I get nothing back, I at least know that I'm like sort of reminding them that I'm still here and that it's not going to be like 2 weeks before the wedding they're like, hang on a minute, we haven't heard from the photographer we booked 18 months ago. You know, so it kind of gives them that trust and that confidence that they know they've done the right thing in choosing you.
No, that's really, really helpful. Georgia, what would be your best business tip to give people? You've been inside of the industry, you also work B2B now. What's either a tip that you've been given or maybe one of your own that you'd like to share with our audience?
I think my biggest tip is just to keep going, keep doing it, keep doing what you're doing, keep learning, keep growing. For me, I know like every month I'm like, oh, I need to learn this new piece of software, or I want to get better at my photo taking skills, or I want to like implement a new different thing into the business, whether that be an email list or like my CRM or, you know, anything like kind of changing. Just keep going, keep growing. If you need to invest in education, just do it because it's worth it. Obviously do your research first, but yeah, all of that sort of stuff. Keep going, because the more you work at your business and in your business, the more it's just going to grow and develop into what you want it to be. So
no, that's a really great tip. I think I always liken it to like in a corporate job. If I was in a corporate job, I would get training, monthly like check-ins with, you know, my team, monthly check-ins with my boss. Probably I'd go on self-development courses. They would constantly either be bringing in new things to make the business better, or they would be training their staff on kind of. So inside of your business, you're the person that is there to do that. And we always look at our business, maybe because of the way that our business is set up in terms of how it's structured, in terms that we're a company, we always look at it as an entity away from ourselves. And I've always found that to be helpful. So like we're investing in the business to grow the business, which yes, I am the business, I am the face of our business, and that's the whole point of today's message. You are your brand, you are your business. But in terms of whenever we make an investment decision, or we're thinking about whether it's even a book, or whether it's just reading a blog or information that's out there free or otherwise investment, and yes, we would always encourage you to kind of invest either time or some money, and exactly what you said, do your research first. We look at it as in terms of what's this going to do for the business. And yeah, I always liken it to kind of, if I had a corporate career, somebody would be pushing me to do all of those things in terms of to get to that level of your career, or get that next pay rise, or whatever it is, like move up the career ladder. So we've got to do that for our businesses.
Exactly that. And I think for me, I'd really notice a dip in my productivity if I haven't done that, if I haven't like set some goals for this quarter or this year. And, you know, if I've kind of let everything overrun and not been as thorough in my planning, everything else kind of dips a little bit. And because we are our own boss, most of the time, you don't have someone checking up on you and making sure like, are you keeping up? Are you meeting those timelines? Are you meeting those targets? And so, yeah, making sure that you do that. I mean, for me, I love having stuff on the wall. So I'll set my goals for the quarter. I have my targets for all the different things and have it on the wall in front of me, just so that it just continuously reminds me to keep going and keep working for the things that I want to be working towards.
Georgia, before we let you go, we obviously need to talk about your new project and your new business in terms of your shoot photography. Tell us a little bit more about that, about your stock photography.
Yeah, so it's called GBP Styled Stock, purely because I couldn't come up with a different name. No, just so it's named after my photography business. But the aim was just to be able to give wedding businesses a huge variety of content that's high quality photos, obviously photographed by a professional photographer myself. A lot of them are from real weddings that I've shot or styled shoots that I've created, and then other kind of officey based photos as well. So anything kind of the back end of our businesses, the things that we do, the admin, all that kind of thing. So there's all sorts of things on there. There's over 800 images at the minute in the stock library. It's a membership based, like subscription based platform. So you pay a monthly or a quarterly or an annual amount, and then you just have access to the library. So currently we have, like I said, over 800 images on there that are all majority wedding based, and then there's also sort of home office based and consultations, working in a coffee shop, stuff like that as well. Feel free to go and have a little look. I'm sure Katie and Roxy will put the link in the show notes. You can go and look at all the collections without having to pay for it yet. I'm doing a really good offer for the first month because we only just launched at the beginning of March. So till the end of March, you will get 66% off the first quarter if you sign up for the quarterly subscription plan.
I think if anybody has done any kind of work on their website recently, or any kind of work on anything, like endlessly we need photographs, don't we? And you don't actually realise how difficult it is to find the images that you're after. Like we did some work on our website recently and it was, oh my word, like
I'm laughing because I'm like, yes, we know this pain well.
It takes us so much time to hunt down quality images of the things that we want. It's usually office-based stuff for us. You know, we work from home, we don't work from offices. You know, Roxy's office is quite on brand, isn't it? But mine isn't. I share my office with my partner who also works from home. We call this the man office, don't we? My office is termed man office. But it's really difficult to find those kind of images that are on brand, so that when people do, you know, find us online or find us on social media, or they've come across our lead magnet or whatever, everything says the Wedding Business Hub, like all of the colours and everything included. We spend hours finding images in the colours that we kind of want to use them in. Please say there's some blue.
There's plenty of blue. And so once you sign up, you have kind of access to your members area and all the images are in there, but then there's like a little search box. So if specific colors, or you're looking for tablescapes, bouquets, you know, anything like that, you can just type it in and it will come up with all the images that have those sort of colors in, or that sort of particular item that you're looking for within it as well. So it's really, really easy to search for what you want, and they're just really good for even just like that little corner of your website that needs something that's not your face again or you at work again, but you just want something pretty in the corner that's related to the business, or, you know, anything like that. They're really good for those sort of things as well.
We will definitely pop a link in the show notes so you can go and check that out. Thank you so much, Georgia. It's been really great to have you on and pick your brains all about branding, and loved your tip about just kind of keep going and keep pushing yourself and investing in yourself as well. And if you are listening to this podcast thinking, okay, I need an action point, I think we'd all definitely say get your face into your business somehow, whether it's on a story or grid, or contact somebody like Georgia and get some shots done. You definitely won't regret it.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you very much for having me.
It's been lovely.
Bye.